Right. Good evening. We are talking about ICT unit number 5, right? Operating systems. So up to now, we completed some of the parts of operating system. At the last class, we started to discuss about services of operating system. Hope you remember this diagram. Operating system provides many services. All the services are categorized into two types. The first one is hardware management, but still I have to explain that because even though I categorize this as first, but I didn't explain anything. But you can guess something because these words are not new. So by looking at these words, you can guess something. But wait, I will explain about hardware management. You have a lot of hardware management activities. I will explain everything one by one, but not as depth, but I tried to explain in a very brief manner because these are very big things, right? So maybe some of the services are small, but many of them are very big. So it is better to take a brief introduction for all these hardware managed services, right? But now we have been talking about user interfaces. In fact, I explained them. So user interface is a component which connects two objects. What are the two objects? The user and the machine. Because machine is something which doesn't have feeling, which doesn't have any human related characteristics. So whenever a human wants to communicate with the machine, there may be something inside of the machine in the form of interfaces. So interface is a middle component which joins the user as well as the machine, right? So there are two types of interfaces we already listed: graphical user interface, which is GUI, and also command line interface, CLI, right? We have two types of interfaces. And then I explain about graphical user interface. I hope you remember that explanation. Right? GUI has user-friendly components which make the user to handle them without any difficulties. So hope you remember them. So it has windows, it has icons, then menus and pointers. So we used to form a word WIMP, right? Because sometimes when you have many things, you may forget those objects, right? So that's why it is better to remember them in the form of a word, right? WIMP. So when you have windows, icons, menus, and pointers, this is too easy to handle such operating systems. I explain everything, right? I explain about windows and icons and menus and pointers in the last class, right? So it is a user-friendly interface because these objects help us to handle those operating systems with ease, right? So they are user-friendly interfaces. And also almost all the operating systems, all the softwares use GUI nowadays, right? Because still we have the other interface too, but there may be some difficulties in handling or using command line interface. I will explain. So that's the reason why almost all the softwares that you use have GUI. Even if you take a game, that game has graphical user interface. If you take an operating system like Windows or Android or iOS, they have graphical user interfaces. If you take an application software like Zoom or Word or PowerPoint or whatever, they also have graphical user interfaces, right? So remember this, almost all the softwares have GUI since it is too friendly, right? Okay. Right, then we have to discuss about command line interface, CLI. This is another important thing. Questions can be asked. So this is another interface. We have GUI. This is command line interface, CLI. So unlike graphical user interface, here in CLI, as a user, you have to type commands, specific commands for performing tasks. But in graphical user interface, you have objects like pointers, windows, menus, icons. They all help you to perform tasks. So hope you remember one activity which I talked about earlier, which is shutting down, right? So whenever you want to shut down your computer, you have to click on that particular button called shutdown. So all you have to do is just move the mouse pointer on top of that button and press your mouse button or click your mouse button. That is too easy act, right? Anyone can do that, right? But if it is a command line interface, you need to remember the command, the specific command or commands need to be given for shutting down your computer. If you forget those commands, definitely you cannot shut down your computer. Let me take another one, a simple activity. See, if you want to open a specific video in graphical user interface, you all know that video has an icon, right? There is a small icon for video. Just double click on that icon and then straight away it opens. Anyone can open that. There is no specific experience or there is no specific skill or knowledge needed. But when it comes to command line interface, right? When it comes to command line interface, you have to remember the specific command for open your video. Maybe one command, maybe a sequence of commands, right? So remember this, in command line interface, you have to type commands from keyboard for performing any task. It may be a simple task, it may be a tough task, commands are needed. But we all know that as humans, we are unable to remember all those hundreds or even thousands of commands. Maybe some of the most frequently used commands can be in your mind or memory, but as a user or as a human being, you cannot remember all those thousands of commands. That may be the reason why the CLI is not in use nowadays, right? None of us likes to have CLI interfaces. We all like to work with graphical user interfaces. Because of the commands, this interface is not available in the modern softwares, right? Maybe early 90s, this command line interface was there in one of the most popular operating systems called MS-DOS, right? MS-DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System. I hope you remember this word because we already mentioned this word in single user, single task operating system, right? In single user, single task, we listed MS-DOS as an example, right? So in MS-DOS, there were interfaces in the form of CLI. So those who worked with computer in the early 90s might have typed the commands for performing tasks, right? They might remember those commands even nowadays because they didn't have any options at that point of time, right? They had only command line interface operating systems like MS-DOS. So because of that availability of one operating system, they may still remember those commands. But as an ordinary person, you are unable to remember all those commands, right? That may be the reason why CLI disappeared, right? We don't have CLI interfaces, right? For examination purpose, these are more than enough in terms of interfaces, right? So interface is a component which joins the user and the machine. Or in other words, an interface helps the user to communicate with the machine. There are two types of interfaces: graphical user interface and command line interface. In graphical user interface, there are some user-friendly objects such as windows, icons, menus and pointers. They help us to communicate with the machine with ease, right? There are no difficulties at all. On the other side, we have command line interface, which needs commands for each and every action, each and every task, right? So to do any kind of task, definitely you need one command, single command, maybe sequence of commands, right? As a user, we are unable to remember all these thousands of commands, right? So that's the reason why CLI is not available in the modern day operating systems or modern day softwares, right? Okay, so it would be easy if I show some of the commands in CLI, and even if I explain in a practical manner, then you can understand the difficulty of CLI. But remember, these are not asked in examination. None of the commands asked in examinations. But I'm trying to explain this because you have to feel the difficulty of handling and remembering these commands, because nowadays you have the experience in working with GUI. So now if I explain or if I demonstrate in CLI, then you can easily compare with your GUI and understand the difficulty, right? So let me explain. Right, so let me explain the command line interface now. So look here, if I want to go to the D drive, you know, in your computer, there are drives, right? There are a hard disk has divided into parts. These are called drives. These are nothing. These are your hard drives, right? Local disk C, even local disk D, local disk E. So I don't have 3 hard disks, 1 hard disk, but that has been divided into 3 parts. I will explain about these divisions later. Even in this unit, we have to study about these partitions. These are called partitions. But remember, this is 1 hard disk, right? Okay. So if I want to see anything which is in the E drive, right? E, I just open and see the things. This is too easy, right? Because this is a graphical user interface. See, this is an icon, right? This is an icon. I just click on icon and I can see everything, every file of, pictures or videos without any difficulty. Not only me, right? Anyone can do that, right? But if it is a command line interface, it is too difficult. Let's watch. I will explain how it is difficult to handle or to go into the E drive, right? So in our computer, we can practice CLI in a window or in a software called command prompt. Go to the search and type CMD, right? Command prompt, but we can open that with the specific command CMD. So look here, it is there CMD. Just click and open. I do it again. Look here. Go to the start, and on the search button, type CMD, which means command prompt, right? Type CMD and open it. Okay. So now look here. Hope you all can read the words or see the words. C users user, which means I am in the C drive. C is a hard disk, a part of a hard disk. Inside of a hard disk, sorry, inside of a C, there is a folder called users. I will explain about folders later. There may be some people who know about folders. There may be some of you who don't know about folders, but I will explain. So users is a folder. Inside of users, there is another folder called user, right? So inside of a C drive, there is a folder called users, right? Inside of users, we have another folder called user. Even you can try like this. In graphical user interface, this is C drive. Open the C drive, right? And see, you have a folder called users, right? Here it is, users. Just open. And there is another folder called user. So in graphical user interface, things are like this, right? So you have to open your computer, right? Then C drive, then users and user. But if it is a command line interface, now this black color window, black color screen is an example for command line interface. So now C drive, users, user. So in both, so in graphical user interface, I'm here, right? And now in command line interface, I'm here. Both are same. In both interfaces, I'm in the same place, right? Okay. Now, if I want to go to the D drive, right? If I want to go to the D drive, look here, there is D. Just click on the D. Now you can directly go to the D drive. D drive is another part of hard disk. Look here, local disk D. It's another part of hard disk. Now you can see the pictures and videos or whatever which are saved in my D drive. So going from C drive to D drive, it's very simple. Even if you go to E drive, just click on the E drive. But here, if it is a command line interface, you don't have any icons, right? You don't have any colorful things. All you have is a black color window. Now, if I want to go to the D drive, right? I'm showing you how to go to or how to move to D drive. So you have to type a command called CD and 2 dots. CD means change directory. Directory means folder. So which means change folder or change directory. So when I press the enter key, now I'm going to press the enter key. Watch carefully. Now what happens? Earlier C users user, now C users. What does it mean? Now you exit from that particular folder user. Now where are you? You are in users folder. You are inside of users folder. Where is that users folder? It is in C drive. So what I'm doing is I am gradually exiting from the folders because I have to move to D drive, right? So that's why I'm exiting from the present location, right? So now I will type the same command again, cd ... Look here. Now where are you? You are in the C drive directly. You are not in any folders. You are in C drive directly. This seems to be this. Click on the C drive. Now you are here, right? Now we are not in any folder. We just click the C drive and we are in the C drive. Similarly, but this is graphical user interface because you have graphical items. But if it is command line interface, the exact location is this, right? So now I'm going to move to D drive. So click the D drive, right? And colon symbol. Click the D, right? Letter D and colon, 2 dots, right? Now look at the location D ... So which means we are in D drive now, right? So look here. If you don't know this cd command, you are unable to go to or exit from one drive. But here in graphical user interface, even though you are in one drive, just click the other drive and straight away you can go there. One or two examples. Okay, now here you are in D drive. and straight away you can see all the pictures and videos or whatever in your D drive, right? So I can see everything, folders, pictures, videos, everything is clearly visible. I just click the D drive and everything is visible. But even here, right, in command line interface, see, nothing found. You are, but still we are in the D drive, right? So in command line, in graphical user interface also we are in D drive. In command line interface also we are in D drive. But the problem is we are unable to see any files or anything, any folders. You are unable to see images or videos, whatever. The problem is it needs command, right? You have to type a specific command to view the files and everything. So look here, you have to type a command called dir, right? dir. So once you type and press the enter key, and look here, what are they? All of them are files and everything. But here in graphical user interface, they look beautiful, they look attractive because they are in the form of icons and pictures and everything. But in command line interface, you cannot have any icons, right? You cannot have any pictures or anything. Only all of them are here, right? The name there and everything is there, but you are unable to see, right? You are unable to see anything in the form of pictures or icons, right? So one simple example here, look here, I have to open, right? I try to open a specific file from this, right? So look here, all watch this. There is a file called file1.docx, right? I have something here, file1.docx, right? The similar file is found in this computer, D drive. You can take that, look here, file1. Here it is, right? Look here, this is file1.docx. So now it is graphical user interface. If you want to open, just double click, right? Just double click, that particular file is opened. I type something, right? That particular file is opened. It's too easy, right? Not only I took this file1 for example, right? You may take anything, right? Just double click and open it. But here now we are back to GUI, sorry, CLI. So here also you have the same file, but this is not a colorful icon, but it is same file, file1.docx. To open this file, you have to type a command, start. This is the command, right? Start space, that particular file name, file1.docx. Look here, start, that is a command, and then space file1.docx. And now press the enter key. After typing the command, press the enter key. Now look here, that same file is open. Have you understood the difficulties? In graphical user interface, it is too easy to click, double click and open it, right? Anyone can open it. But here in command line interface, to open a file, you have to type a command start, then there is a space left, and then the file name, right? So here my file name is file1.docx. Don't worry about those .docx and other things I will explain. In this unit, we have to study everything, right? So now file opens. For each and everything, right? Every action, you need such specific commands. Now remember, it is too difficult to remember such commands. So that's why this command line interface is not used in present operating systems or present softwares, right? So I have put some of the commands here, but you don't need to worry about those commands. If you are interested, you may try in your command prompt, right? But otherwise, for examination purpose, these are not important. Even for creating a folder, you can type mkdir space folder name, right? I didn't explain, but you can try in your computer. Type mkdir. Mkdir means make directory. Directory means folder. So make directory means creating a folder. Mkdir space then folder name. If you type a folder, or if you want to create a folder in the name of pictures, then my command would be mkdir space pictures. Once you hit the enter key, definitely there is a new folder created, right? So if you are interested, you can try anything. Even if you want to delete a file, right, type del and give a space and type the file name to be deleted, right? Similar to start. If it is start, if you want to open a file, start space file name. Again, if you want to delete a file, del space file name, but that file name must have such suffix .docx or .jpg. That must be important, right? So this is CLI. So I hope you understood the difference between CLI and GUI. So now you all realize that working in a CLI is very, very tough, right? But working in a graphical user interface is very easy, right? Okay. So these are the two types of interfaces. Okay. So now talking about services of operating systems. Now we finished providing user interfaces. So hope you remember, you understood the thing. Operating system provides two types of services or two types of functions. The first one is providing interfaces. We understood the term interface, and also we know the GUI, we know CLI, and we also understood the difference between CLI and GUI. Okay. On the other side, operating system manages your home computer hardwares. You may have types of hardwares, right? There may be many types of hardwares. All can be managed by the operating system. That is hardware management, right? So we have many hardware management, many types or many examples. So let's take them one by one. I'm starting with process management, right? Not from device management. I start from process management. Listen to me, right? So first of all, you have to understand the term process, right? Because in our practical world or in our day-to-day life, process is something which refers an action, right? So maybe if there is an activity takes place, that may be called process. But in computer, the word process may have a different meaning. So if a software is running at this moment, right? Assume there is a software is running at this moment. That particular software which is in running state is called the process. Assume now look here, I am running my Microsoft PowerPoint, right? Because I am presenting these ideas through Microsoft PowerPoint. So that Microsoft PowerPoint is a software, it's a program. That program is running at this moment. So if a program is running at a specific time, that must be called a process. So now it is a process. In your mobile phone, your Zoom app or your Zoom program is running because you are watching this class, or you are listening to this class from Zoom. So that Zoom software is running. What does it mean? That is a process, because that is a software. Zoom is a software, but that software is running at this moment in your mobile phone. That is a process. So while you are playing a game, you know that game is running. So now at that particular point of time, that must be called process. So remember this. if a program is running, then that must be called process, right? So there may be multiple process can run at a time, right? You may do many things. See, while we are listening to music, you can type. So for listening to music, there may be a software running. For typing, there is another software running. So at a specific time, there may be many softwares run, right? So there is a person or there is an object to manage all these processes, because you have to arrange all the process in a specific order. Then only your process will be taken place in an orderly manner. Assume if there is no coordination point, or if there is no centralized point for managing your processes, then how can your computer do all the process? So this is important. All the process should be managed. All of them should be arranged, right, in an orderly manner. So that is the role of the operating system. That is called process management. So it's very simple, right? But you know, process management is something which we can study for long period, maybe for months you can study, right? Because internally, if you want to understand how a process happens, you have to study the internal activities. But for grade 10, they are not expected, right? Even they are not included in your book, right? But if you follow such things in your future, definitely you need to spend much time in for understanding such things, right? But for someone who studies in grade 10, it's enough, right? So understand these things. You have so many processes in your computer at a time. There may be so many processes created. All must be managed, all must be ordered. So that is the role of operating system, that is called process management, right? So this is the first one. Then we have memory management, right? Memory management, that may be one of the vital roles, so vital services of operating system. Process management is too important. At the same time, memory management also in the list, right? You cannot put that down. That is also important, right? So let's see what it is. Memory. Here the term memory refers primary memory. In fact, random access memory, right? Even though it is memory, so sometimes you may think that it is secondary memory like hard disk or pen drive or CD or DVD. They are not included in the term. If it is memory, it always refers the primary memory, which is random access memory. So, you know, in your memory, right, if you take all the memories in your computer, you may have RAM, ROM, hash, right? But among them, random access memory is very important. We already studied in unit number 2, because random access memory is the one which supplies the data, or which supplies the processes and everything to CPU. Whenever CPU needs data, CPU fetch them from random access memory. So RAM is too important, right? So the random access memory has to be managed, because in RAM there may be many small places called cells to keep the data. So all the time there should be empty spaces to keep the data. So there may be a person to monitor everything. You cannot keep your random access memory as full. So you need to keep your random access memory with empty spaces. So that is one of the roles of operating system. Operating system keeps watching those things. It watches whether empty spaces are found, whether your RAM is, fully occupied. So those things must be observed, right? So at the same time, look here, at the same time, once the process is finished, that must be deleted from your random access memory, and that particular place must be vacated. There should be an empty space created. Assume you have a data in your RAM, but now that the data has been processed, so definitely that space should be renewed, or that space should be provided for another data. So that is the role of operating system. Look here, free up the memory after the processes have used it. So once the process is over, you have to free up. You have to renew that space for another process. So who does them? That is operating system. Operating system has to monitor all the time. Whenever your computer runs, operating system has to monitor, right? So these are the main three activities which can come under memory management. The first one, keeping track of which parts of the memory is in use, which part of the memory is occupied. So those must be observed. Allocate memory to processes, right? So if you have many processes, you have to allocate the memory. At the same time, once the process is over, operating system frees up the space for another processes. All of them are memory management activities. It would be better if I show this diagram. Look here, your random access memory seems to be this, right? So it is random access memory. There may be small cages or boxes called cells. In each and every cell, data can be saved. So in memory management, right? In memory management, operating systems keeps watching the spaces. It watches whether spaces are available, whether spaces are occupied. That is there. And also I mentioned the second point, allocate memory to process. So if there are some free spaces, it allocates those spaces for other processes. Right? The third one, once the process is finished, it frees that space for new processes. Assume in this space there may be a data saved, but now that process has been finished. Do you have or do you want the data in that specific cell forever? No, because your job is over, right? Your data has been processed. So why do you want to keep that for a longer period? You have to delete that. So at the same time, you need to give the space for another process. That is also one of the memory management activity, right? So this is memory management. So operating system manages your random access memory, right? The term memory doesn't mean your secondary memories. Also, it doesn't mean ROM or hash memory. Okay, so it means, or it refers to a random access memory. Okay, so that is memory management. Then device management, it's too easy, right? Device management. So your operating system manages the devices. What are devices? They include input-output devices. We used to call them I/O devices, right? I, there is a slash, O devices. I means input, O means output. So input-output devices. So you may have many input devices. You may have mouse, keyboard, right? A trackball, or maybe microphone, right? There may be so many input devices attached in your computer. At the same time, you may have many output devices. You have monitor, you may have printers, you may have speakers. So all must be managed, right? Because of the management, your computer works without any problem. So who manages them, or which object manages them? That is operating system, right? Operating system manages all of your devices. At the same time, this word device includes your secondary storage devices, right? So device management is not only managing the input and output devices. Yes, input output device management is there. At the same time, the word device management includes the secondary storage management, which means managing your hard disk, managing your pen drive, right? Managing your CDs, DVDs, all of them are called device management. Okay, have you understood? So I have highlighted them. Look at the bold letters, dark letters. It may include the management of storage device as well as management of input and output devices of the computer system. So storage device means secondary storage device. Okay. So talking about the services of operating systems, and now we are in hardware management. Up to now, we took 3 hardware management. First of all, I explained about process management. So your computer's main role is processing the data into information, right? So at a time, you may have so many processes, all must be managed, all must be in an order. So that is the role of operating system. Operating system puts them in a queue, right, in a line, and sends them one by one for CPU for processing. Second, we talked about what? Memory management. In fact, it is random access memory management. So their RAM is the one which supplies the data and instruction and everything to CPU. So there is always a great care towards random access memory. So operating system takes that particular care on random access memory, and it does 3 main activities, right? I explain everything. Now, device management. This means managing IO devices as well as secondary storage devices, right? Let's move to the 4th, hardware management, right? So this is security management. You know, operating system provides protections or security for your computer, right? We may, if you want 100% security or maybe high security, you may need some additional, techniques, but operating system itself provides some security measures. The first one is password protection, right? Password protection. This is a very familiar sight for most of the users. Whenever you log into your computer, whenever your computer starts, you know, it asks the password. If an unauthorized person accesses your computer, definitely he cannot access because he doesn't know your password. So he cannot go, enter into your computer. So now that is a kind of protection. My computer, if I have a computer, that computer must be used by me or my maybe 1 or 2 people whom I gave the privileges, or those gave the passwords. Others cannot. So that is a kind of protection. So that password protection is available in operating system. You have to set the password in a specific part of your operating system, right? That is password protection. Second one, multiple user accounts. So some of you may have this experience too. So assume if you have a computer which is used by many members in your family. Assume there are 4 members in your family, but all of them use one computer, single computer. So it would be better to create user accounts in that specific computer. So for you, there is an account. For your brother, there is another account. For your sister, there is another account. For your father, there is another account. So whenever you want to use your computer, once you start your computer, on that particular screen, four accounts visible. So you have to click on your icon, and immediately it asks the password. You know the password because that is your account. Give your password and go and do your work. And then, once your job is over, just shut down. After that, if your brother wants to use the computer, again he has to, on your computer, the same screen there with 4 user accounts. but your brother has to click on his account picture or his account name. Immediately it asks the username. He knows his username. He has to type and go. Where are those user account settings? All of them are in operating systems. So that is another protection. Now everyone uses his or her own account. So others' data may be safe, right? So that may be another one. Firewall, right? So I explained this in unit number 2. So firewall is an object which prevents unauthorized access. So assume I'm using my computer at this point of time. I'm using my computer. At the same time, my computer has internet. So what can happen now? There may be some people who are in different part of the world, and they may try to access my computer through internet, because now internet is a channel or is a path which can carry that particular person who is in abroad to my computer. He comes to my computer or she comes to my computer through that internet, and she or he can steal anything or delete anything and cause damages to my computer. To prevent that unauthorized access, this is kind of unauthorized access. I didn't give permission for that person. Without knowing myself, he or she came to my computer and did those bad things. To prevent such unauthorized access, I have to use a specific component called firewall. Remember, we studied in unit number 2, firewall can be hardware as well as software, right? In both form, firewall is available. You have firewall in the form of hardware, and also you have firewall in the form of software. So now I'm talking about software firewall. Operating system itself has firewall. Not all the softwares, most of the operating systems have firewall. So if you use operating system, you have that firewall protection also. Unauthorized people cannot enter to your computer and steal the thing. You have firewall. But remember that firewall is not installed separately in your computer. It came with your Windows, your operating system. So that is the protection. Finally, malware protection. Malware is a program which is harmful to your computer. Or in other words, malware is a small program which affects your computer. This will be taught in grade 11 last unit, but I tell you one example. Virus, computer virus is one of the malwares. There may be many malwares, but one malware is virus. Virus is nothing, it's a small program, it's a software. But generally, softwares do good things for the computer, but this malware does bad things. You know, malware can do many things, virus can do many activities, but some of the operating systems have features against viruses, right? They can prevent the viruses up to some extent, not in a big scale, right? Like antivirus software does. You know, antivirus software can delete the virus in a big margin, right? But we are talking about operating systems. So operating systems have some sort of features about virus, malwares, and they can delete viruses or malwares up to some extent. So they are security management features. So if you use an operating system in your computer, then you can get such features or such protection techniques for your computer. I take them again. An operating system provides password protection. So whenever we log in to our computer, you know, it has password. Multiple user accounts. For this may be very useful when a single computer is shared by many people. Everyone has to create for his own account, and then they can use their account and access their files, right? So that is another security. There is no need for looking the other's file. Your file can be viewed by you only. Firewall is a software which can prevent unauthorized people. So with the help of internet, people who are far to you can come to your computer and steal the things. That is very, very threat. So if you use firewall, it prevents. Firewall also available in operating systems, right? The last one, operating system has some sort of malware protection, right? Malware is a program which can harm to your computer, which can affect your computer, right? So if you use operating systems, then you can get protection against malware up to some extent, right? Not in a big manner, big scale, maybe up to some extent you have security, you have protection, right? They are malware protections, okay? Right. So now we conclude or we discuss 4 different hardware management, process management, memory management, what else? Device management, security management, right? So this is file management, another important management activity, file management. Okay. First of all, let me explain the word file. Then we can discuss about how an operating system manages the file, right? Let me explain the word file. So it's very simple. In a computer, if a component has data inside, then that it must be called file. I repeat it. If a component keeps data inside, then that component must be called file. Right? So anything, it may be anything. Let me show one example here. Look here, this is, right? Watch that particular icon. This is a file because it has some data inside. See, if I open, right? If I open, see, you have some letters and you have some symbols and everything. What are they? They are data. So since data are saved in this specific component, this is called a particular file, right? This is a file. Even if I take another one, see, I have another one. So this seems to be a picture, right? So look here, this is a picture. But if I open this, see, you have some words, you have some pictures, right? You have some different colors. What are they? Color, picture, letter, all of them are data. So this single component keeps data. So what is it? It is a file, right? It is nothing, it's a file. Even if I open a video, that is a file. Why? That video has audio, that video has pictures or colors, that is also a file. So this is very simple. If a component has data, right, then that component must be called a file, right? It may be anything. It may be video, it may be audio, it may be picture, it may be a text. Everything is a file, right? Right. I have to explain about the folder later. Not now, right? Wait, I will explain the term folder later. So now you know the term file, right? Then look here, a file has 2 parts, right? Every file has 2 parts. The first part is called file name. The second part is called file extensions, right? You have file name and also you have file extension. Every file has these 2 options. Okay, I go back to my E drive again, right? So let me show one file here. Right, look at this file. Right, look at this file. This is a file. Okay, let's open and see something. If I open, there may be something, right? There may be something, there are letters and everything. So definitely it's a file, right? So let's watch that. That file has two things. Look here, assessment, then there is a dot, then pptx, right? Assessment, then there is a dot, then pptx. So this file has two parts. The first part is called file name. So what is the file name given to this file? It's assessment. Then there is something as suffix in this file that is called pptx, right? Pptx, that must be after dot. There is a dot which separates the file name and the file extensions. That pptx is called file extensions, right? So you have file name and you have file extension. Wait, I will explain the meaning of those two words now, but before that I will show one more file, right? Right. Look at this file. Look at this file, the selected one, right? That green color one. Teachers.xlsx. So what is the file name? File name is always prefix. File extension is always suffix. So what is the file name? Teachers. What is the file extension? It is xlsx. But earlier, right, in the previous file, you had pptx as extension. Now you have xlsx as extension, right? Wait, I will take another one. Right, look at this file. Okay, what is the file name? gr10 timetable, right? It seems to be a lengthy file name, but doesn't matter. gr10 timetable, this is file name. So what about the file extensions? That is docx, right? docx, but that is file extension. Now come to the point. File name is given to the file for identifying the files. See, why did I give the file name gr10 timetable? Because inside of this file, I keep some data about grade 10 timetable. So that's why I gave a meaningful name as file name. I could have given X, I could have given Y or Z as file names, but I didn't give X or Y or Z because if I give X as file name, then it's too difficult to guess the data which is inside, because you may have hundreds of files, not only one, not only two. So this is important. Always a meaningful file name is preferable. So look here, look at this file. Why did I give assessment? There are something about assessment, right? There are some data about assessment, maybe questions, assessment questions inside. So that's why I put assessment. It would be better if I give assessment grade 10 or something, but I put assessment. That is file name. So look here, teachers.xlsx. The file name is teachers. So why teachers? There may be some information or details about teachers kept in this file. That's why file name has been set as teachers. So this is very simple. File name is given for files for identifying the files. Even if you have a photograph of you, right? Assume you have a photograph of you. So definitely you need to give a meaningful name for your photograph. Definitely your name, right? You may give, like if it is Amal, you can give Amal. That is file name. So why file extension, right? Since the time is running out, I try to, explain the files extension quickly, but maybe in the next class I will explain everything, slowly, right? So file extension. So here xlsx, here pptx, right? Here docx. You may have different file extensions, right? There are different file extensions. Why? What is the reason? Why do you have different file extension, right? File extensions are used for identifying the file types. I repeat it, file name is used for identifying the file, but file extension is used for identifying the type of file. By looking at the PPTX, I know that it is PowerPoint, MS PowerPoint, but you have to have some experiences. Then only you can, tell that. But extensions are always for identifying the files. PPTX, it's PowerPoint. Look here, Excel SX. It is what? It is Excel. Microsoft Excel is a software. So when I see Excel SX, I know that it is Excel. Look here, DOCX, right? DOCX. When I see DOCX, I know that it is MS Word file. So file extensions are for identifying the file types, whether it is an MS Word file, whether it is a PowerPoint file, whether it is an Excel file. Even look at the extension of this file. What is the file name of this file? T44. T44, it's a file name. What is the file extension? JPG. Whoever sees JPG must understand that it is an image, picture. So now I realize that it is a picture. So some of you may think that for identifying the file, you can use the icon. Yes, you can use the icon. Look at that icon, X, green X, that is Excel. That small p, that is, PowerPoint. W Word, yes, you can. But remember about the command line interface. Now think about the command line interface. Right? And now look at the mouse pointer. Right? Look at my mouse pointer, school.pptx. Is there any icon for identifying the file type? Huh? How can you identify whether it is an PowerPoint or whether it is an Excel or whether it is a Word? It is because of that PPTX. So when you see PPTX, now you realize it is PowerPoint. When you use, when you see JPG, now you realize that it is a picture, right? It's a photograph. When you see, look at this report.docx. So what is the file name? Report. What is the extension? DOCX. Now I know that it is MS Word file. So in a GUI, you may think that the icons are there for identifying the file type. Yes, that may be okay. But there is, on the other side, you have command line interface also. But in command line interface, you don't have any icons for identifying the file. So this is important. Remember that point, right? So you have file name and you have file extension for every file that you have. It may be image, it may be, right? It may be video, whatever you have, right? So this is the one which I talked about. This is a file, right? There are two parts. According to my example, term one, what is it? File name, DOCX, what is it? File extension, right? Then Y file name, used for identifying a file from bunch of files, right? You may have thousands of files in your computer. To identify a specific file, what is important? You need a file name. Look here, a meaningful file name is always preferable. You may give X, you may give Y, or you may give ABC as file name, but they do not make any sense, right? Just give a meaningful name, then only you can identify. File extensions, they are for identifying the file, what type, right? So for identifying video, for identifying audio, maybe image, definitely there are different types of extensions, right? So we had so many things at last, right? So remember them. Definitely I will recall these things in the next class, because these are very important for exams, right? File management. So take your time and understand everything, right? So at this point of time, we conclude today's lesson and meet again in the next class, right? Thank you.